Hey everybody, welcome back to Thinktwice, the weekly show where we talk about things that are going on in the world of Magic the Gathering, gaming, and pop culture. For episode 40, I'm your host, Justin Parnell, joined by my co-host, as always, Ali Aintrazi.
What's up, everybody? How you guys doing? Parnell, how you doing?
I'm doing good. We have our good setup back. Our esteemed director and producer, John Choi, is finally recovered his computer from the alligator that stole it from his house. I don't know how or why. I don't feel like they use technology that well.
Dang.
I don't even know how he got it.
How did you find out it was an alligator?
I don't know. That's just what he said.
Okay.
I'm just taking him at his word.
I mean,
okay.
I would too. You can't. I mean, whatever.
What am I supposed to do? Like he's obviously been through a traumatic experience with this. Like I can't just call him out on it.
No,
as unlikely as it seems, I'm just going to believe him.
You should. I mean, yeah.
That's just what I don't know. I feel like that's what friends do.
Yeah, you should believe, because if you don't, you might bring up you might trigger his trauma.
That's true. Like now we can't go to the zoo. We plan to go to see an alligator exhibit at the zoo. We can't do that anymore. Anyways, that was his weekend.
Also, watch out for Spider-Man episode with Alligator Guy.
What?
The Spider-Man movie. There's an alligator guy.
What?
Alligator villain. Oh
what?
My god.
The lizard?
Yeah, lizard.
He's not an alligator at all. He's a lizard. It's literally his name is the lizard. It's not an alligator.
Whatever. He's close enough to an alligator.
I feel like you're being amphibian racist.
I probably am.
All these amphibians look the same to you. Frog guy looks the same as crocodile guy.
I'm probably going to get some hate mail for that.
Yeah.
You know what?
The pro-amphibian group is almost assuredly going to come after you for that one.
I'm taking this to Reddit.
I don't think you want any part of Reddit. Anyway, Ollie, what'd you do this weekend? Heard you got some big news.
I've played Hex.
Okay, all right.
And
all right.
You ready for this?
Split. Yeah.
I actually top 8 this time. I top 8 it.
Oh my god.
No.
Praise airboats.
We broke the curse. Crufix. But yeah, we top 8'd. It's crazy because the deck I've been playing, like I popularized, put 4 people in the top 8.
So including you. Congratulations.
All
right.
And one of us won. It wasn't me, but
not you, but one of your deck compatriots.
Yeah, which is kind of crazy. Because like what happened was, so when the deck first came out, I made a tweet saying, "Guys, this is the best deck." There were like three people that mocked me, saying, "Oh no, it's not," and they were like just tagging results.
Saying, and you're like, "Oh, I'll show these exactly 3 people."
No, I was like, "Guys, this deck that's winning right now, it's been established. Like it's been legal. It's like basically it's a deck that's it's like Blue Black Scarab God now."
Yeah.
Right. And
so clearly the best deck, and
right, yeah, right. I was like, yeah, but this is better,
how did you popularize it if it was already the best deck?
No. People were saying that was the best deck.
Okay.
And they were saying mine, the
oh, and they're poo-pooing your deck.
They're pooing my deck, saying mine wasn't the best deck. Okay. But I was like, this deck needs time. You gotta find the right cards for it.
You gotta marinate the deck.
Exactly.
You gotta appreciate it in ways no one else can.
Yeah, it hasn't developed as much as the other deck has. That's been here for a year.
It hasn't matured.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly. Now
the right girl hasn't asked it to the dance.
But now Ollie has.
And now, the deck is the dancing queen, dancing all over its opponents in the top 8. So, this past weekend, I was at GP Hartford, in Hartford, Connecticut. This is obviously the SCG sales booth does not always go to non-SCG tour events. In fact, we very infrequently do. We went to GP Las Vegas last year. But we did go to this GP, and I met a lot of Commander Versus fans. No one told me about Thinktwice. I assumed it's only because they loved it so much. They were embarrassed of their love and letting me see how much they loved it.
We'll go with that.
It's the only thing that I can assume.
Well, I mean, I just hope you point them to the right direction.
I definitely told a couple people, like, hey, if you like all the jokes we make on Commander Versus,
If you like Podcast,
then you should watch more Commander Versus. But outside of that, you should. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Actually, so one person did bring up Thinktwice.
Okay, that's
and I
good.
had my play mat. I played a couple of matches with people, and I played on my Thinktwice, my exclusive Patreon supporter only Thinktwice play mat.
That's good. That's good.
So, okay, so for today's show, or before we get to today's show, we do have a question of the week from last week, which is going to lead nicely into our first segment. Question of the week last week was, there's a lot of underrated cards in Dominaria. You and I each picked one of what we felt like was the most under the radar. You picked Teshar Ancestors Apostle, and I picked Siege Gang Commander. Now, you are arguing that Siege Gang Commander wasn't under the radar. Maybe, but I feel like not a lot of people are talking about it. And either way, 47% of people voted for me that Siege Gang Commander is the best under the radar.
Yeah, it's definitely cheating. We all know that Siege Gang is better than Teshar, but guys, we all know Siege Gang is good. Like, if you know he's been Teshar, is he really under the radar?
I don't know that he's. I don't know that he's better. Anyway, we're gonna find out this week what we think in full of Dominaria, not just Teshar, not just Siege Gang Commander, the whole gamut.
The whole shebang.
The whole shebang. We've actually bumped our pop culture section where we're going to talk about Jessica Jones until next week, Jessica Jones Season 2, until next week, because we did not want to cut this Dominaria segment short. So you're going to get a whole bunch of Dominaria talk. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we return, 40 plus minutes of Dominaria. So, Ollie, before we get to our Dominaria mega review,
Mega blockbuster,
we have another blockbuster. We have been one of the 27 streamers that have been invited by Wizards of the Coast to take part in their Dominaria early access event on Magic Arena. And they're actually giving us a special stocked account to play in the Dominaria early access event next Wednesday, April 25th. So if you guys are interested in seeing literally the first Dominaria action, you need to tune in to twitch.tv/thinktwicemtg. Ollie and I, for that event, are going to be playing lots of sweet Dominaria stuff. That's all we can say right now. You'll find out more next week, but you definitely want to tune in April 25th, twitch.tv/thinktwicemtg. We're really, really excited to be part of this. Obviously, huge shout out to Wizards.
Can you tell me time?
It's I believe it's going to be from 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yes.
And
yes,
as we get closer, we'll obviously announce more details.
Yeah, I'm hyped. Obviously, just Type 2. Excited to play these new cards and showcase MG Arena. So.
Yes, which is obviously a program we've been playing a lot of. We both really like it, and we're #blessed.
Yeah, #blessed. We've
got blessed to be in this this group of really incredible streamers that, man.
Yeah.
Really, we have you to thank, all of you listeners.
That's what I was going to say too. Yeah.
Literally, we have you guys to thank.
You tweet to get us a card.
You got us the preview card. You're getting us in this I felt like we got invited to like this party that we're just like with all these like people that deserve to be there, and then we're just like got thrown on the guest list at the end. But you know what?
You're cool too. Okay.
You know what? We're gonna make you proud.
Yeah, and also, you guys got us the city's blessing. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. #blessed. Okay, so Ollie, Dominaria. I know you've thought about it.
Oh yeah.
A lot. Standard is your favorite format, even though you've had some trouble with it. You had some marital trouble with it in the last year. But
yeah.
Is Standard coming back strong with Dominaria?
Oh, absolutely. This set is I think one of the best standard sets in a long time.
Yeah.
I was writing my set review for it for Gathering Magic. I was doing a top 10. And I was struggling to do top 10 because there's so many good cards. Usually it's like, all right, these like top 8. Okay, let me find 2 more that might make it.
You gotta like stretch. You gotta stretch for the 10.
Yeah, for this one I was like at 10. I was like, man, there's still so many that see play. Dominaria brings so many cool new mechanics and just so many cards that are built around me, and I think they're actually going to work. I think they're going to work.
I think I agree with most of your statement. You said that Dominaria is one of the best sets for standard in a long time. I think this is one of the best Magic sets probably ever.
Okay, so you agree with me, but you're going further.
I'm going further, and I know that's kind of a crazy statement. And I alluded to this last week, but this set literally has something for everyone. If you love Magic, and obviously we do, and I know most of you guys watching and listening do, this set literally has it all. It has flavor, it has nostalgia, it has powerful cards, it has build around me cards, it has really efficient cards. It hits all of the notes for everyone.
It has new cards, like Sagas are new cards.
Yeah, new card types. It pushes the envelope.
Yep.
And not only does it do that, but like one of its core mechanics, which is historic, literally can be played with like every card in the past, which of course is appropriate for the mechanic, but like even new cards they print in the future, and those historic cards will continue to get better forever.
It's sweet. It's sweet.
It is a legit great set.
Yep.
Okay, so I know one thing we talked about a little bit last week again. We talked some about the legendary sorceries.
Yes.
And we talked about kind of the best way to utilize those. And I know, Ali, you have like a specific thing that you want to make sure that everyone understands.
Oh yes, I know. No, I know a lot of people are debating like what's the best way to play these legendary sorceries, and I think it's absolutely, guys, just to play the gods. Like Kefnet. Kefnet's a very good creature that's very hard to kill. He's indestructible, and unlike the other gods that need devotion, he's a creature all the time. So all the gods turn on these legendary sorceries, and then obviously the Scarab God turns them on too. You have Hazaret, if you need Hazaret. It's just
So all the gods in standard are always creatures, just whether they can attack or block. But it doesn't turn them off, unlike the Theros gods where they don't need, they only need triggers to be able to attack or block, but they're always creatures.
Correct. Yes, they're always creature indestructible, so and then just extremely hard to remove. Mm-hmm. And I think Kifnet is like one of the better ones because he's cheap. He's 3.
Yeah. So do you think that's going to be something that's going to? I mean, because like there's other ones that cost 3.
Yes.
Actually, like most of them, Bontu and Ronus both cost 3 also.
Yeah, Ronus actually
in black and green respectively.
Yeah, honestly, Ronus is actually probably better than Ronus is better than Kifnet. He is better than Kifnet. But Ronus, Kifnet, Scarab God, and then you also have some other legendary creatures that we'll go to later. But those are like just gods in general are the best ways to turn it on. If you want, if your deck is like, if you're playing like 4 of, if you're playing like 1 Yawgmoth's Vile Offering or 1 Karn's Temporal Sundering, you don't really need don't need the gods. But if you're playing like a 4 of those cards, like you need to turn that on all the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the gods are the best way to do it.
Yeah, I know. So we have a lot to cover because there's so much in the set that we want to talk about.
Yeah.
So where do you want to go first, Ollie? I'm going to ask you. We have a lot of the lists that we want to cover. We have
Let's start.
You tell me where to start.
I'm going to start real quick about like what decks I think will emerge from, or like the potential tier 1 decks that will emerge from Dominaria.
Okay, so why don't you give me your top 5 decks that you feel like are either going to be created from cards from Dominaria or radically changed?
Top 5 best decks?
Yeah, top 5 decks that kind of that fit those parameters.
Okay, I think there's already like a red green monsters type of deck.
Okay.
With like Urshari Kenra and the red Kenra, or the green one.
Resilient Kenra.
Yeah, and then Phoenix and Glorybringer. I think that deck just gets better because it gains Llanowar Elf, it gains Untamed Kavu, which is a 2/2 vigilance.
Yeah. Call back to Kavu Titan from Invasion, but just better.
Yeah, just 2 mana, 2 mana, 2/2 vigilance, trample, and you kick it for 3. So 5 mana becomes a 5/5 vigilance trample. That's really good on curve. You also get Llanowar Elves, which is a nice way to boost it up. I also think mono green monsters will be a deck. You have again Llanowar Elf. You have the triple green creature.
Still Leaf Champion.
Yeah, Leaf Champion. I think that's also a good deck. I think a wizard deck is going to be very, very close, if not almost there. Like
okay,
Wizard's Lightning is a great card.
Yeah, Lightning Bolt. That's proven.
Yeah, they also have counter.
We know that one's good.
And like we have some good legendary wizards, or just wizards. Like we have Soulscar Mage, which is a card that's already played. Which
you probably didn't even know. Like a lot of people probably didn't know that was a wizard, but
you
never had to worry about it before now. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you have the new Adele. I call her Adele. Just the blue
it's
red.
like Adlise.
Adlise.
I can't remember. Yeah.
Yeah. She's the red blue one. Basically, the prowess lord. Whenever you cast an instant sorcery, whenever you have prowess, you prowess all your troops.
All your wizards.
Yeah. And then there's a wizard that gives all wizards +1/+1, and then you also have you also have like other random wizards that, like you have Baral, Chief of Compliance, which is also a wizard.
Yeah.
You just have a bunch of these random wizards. That's something to look out for, mostly because the spells they gain, which is like they have Shock, which is really good for prowess. They have Lightning Bolt or Wizard's Lightning, which is good for prowess. They have Lightning Strike. So this deck can like burn you out of nowhere too.
Yeah, totally. You get a G2 Lava Runner, which is the 1/2 for single red. It gets +1/+0 in haste if you have 2 or more instants or sorcerers in your graveyard. So if you have spell mastery, if you remember that mechanic from Magic Origins.
Yeah.
This is a deck that can be like kind of tempo-y, but can turn the corner really quickly.
Yes, and what's cool about this, the one drop, is he's going to turn 1 because he turns on your wizard counter spell, and your lightning bolt, and then he's also good late game because he's just a goblin guide without the drawback.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And something important to note too, he attacks on turn 1 through like a Llanowar Elf.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that's relevant.
It is just super relevant. Yeah, that's going to be very relevant.
Mm-hmm.
What about? I feel like obviously when we get into our list, there's a lot of good control cards.
Mm-hmm. Before we get to control though, real quick, I think there's one more deck. I think another deck that can pop up is like go back to the Clockwork Colossus type deck.
Okay.
I think that deck gains
with like Metalwork Colossus and the little like cogwork things from Kaladesh.
Yeah, you have Glintnest Crane. You have Power Stone, which is an amazing way to power your Colossus.
Oh yeah.
You have the Trophy Mage, which is an amazing way to two drop Power Stones.
Okay.
You have Karn, which is he's gonna be good, but Karn's also very good here because his 0 makes actual artifacts bodies.
Well, his -2.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
His -2 puts something that's going to be bigger than a 1/1 into play, probably like a 3/3, 4/4, 5/5.
Right, and then you also get another finisher besides Clockwork besides the Colossus, you get the Antiquities War Saga, which when you play it lets you look at the top 5 cards of an artifact, then do it again, and then it gives you all your artifacts base power toughness 5/5. So like you have like a ton of ways to close the game out. So
it's like a combination of Tezzeret, Agent of Bolus, and Tezzeret the Seeker.
Yeah, and then you have Karn just to round it out.
Value and Karn's a grindier card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think that like that's also that I picked up some new tools.
Okay.
And then from there we also have obviously I think Control picked up a lot of good cards here for itself.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Yeah. So those are my picks.
Okay, so why don't we get into our card list then?
Sure.
I know you are excited to talk about Standard, so our list for Standard is a little bit longer than our list for everything else. So let's hit Standard first.
Okay.
So we've talked before and we've narrowed it down. You were saying, like in your article for Gathering Magic, that you're trying to narrow it down from 15 cards even.
Yes.
So I'm meaner and I make you narrow it down even further and get it down to 10.
We did, yeah.
Which we argued about for 45 minutes to finally get it down to it. But we have officially come with the Thinktwice top 10 cards for Standard lock it in. All of these are 100% correct, and if anyone disagrees, they're wrong.
Pop.
Would you say that's accurate?
100% accurate. Pop, lock, and
Excellent.
drop it.
Pop, lock, and drop it.
Yes.
But
Okay.
don't drop it in like
Lock,
poop
and
or
then
anything.
lock it?
Well, no, I mean just be careful where you drop it.
Okay. So
Because these are bombs, son. You drop a bomb.
then I dropped a bomb on you, baby. I dropped
Okay.
a bomb on you.
So, all right. So the top 10.
All right. Number 1.
Wait. We have a
These-
caveat. We have a caveat.
Oh, yeah, we have a caveat. Okay.
We have a caveat.
Yes.
Of course,
Or
because no
caveat.
list would be complete without
A caviar.
ruining the list immediately and making sure there were more than 10 cards on there.
With caviar.
Caviar, caveat.
All right. So
The
we're-
official
so
Think Twice caviar caveat of the day
we're not,
is
we're not including Opt because Opt is already we know the card is playable. We've seen it in the last
Yeah.
set.
so in standards,
yeah.
not anything new.
And we are not including the buddy lands. These lands are obviously the best cards in the set. Like, they're better than everything else. They'll see more play than any other card in this set.
By a lot.
Yeah, like Isolated Chapel, like those, like Hinterland Harbor, the enemy ones.
These cards will guaranteed to see play
Everywhere.
no matter how the format changes or
Yeah.
anything. They could literally print.
Bannings, whatever.
Yeah, they could print they could literally print a card that says, like, obviously, spoiler alert, Landware Elves is on the list. If they print a card that says, if your opponent played Landware Elves on turn 1, they lose 5 life for like 1 black. That might make Landware Elves not see play, but there's nothing like that. That card is very realistic. I want to be clear to happen. I'm just kidding. I don't know anything. But nothing will make these buddy lands not see an outrageous amount of play for the next 18 months.
Right, so we're not including buddy lands because they're the best. We're also not including Opt. So
Yep.
those are out.
So just to be clear, it's Isolated Chapel, Sulphur Falls,
Yeah, Hinterland Harbor,
Hinterland Harbor, Clifftop Retreat,
what am I
and
missing?
Woodland Cemetery.
Yep, all the enemy colors.
Yep.
All right, so you ready?
Okay.
This is in order. Number 1, Landware Elves.
Oh my God, I spoiled it for everyone.
Why'd you spoil it?
You were actually the first one that spoiled it because remember back like
Yeah, I did,
a month and a half ago, we're like, we're not going to talk about any cards of Dominaria. You're like, Landware Elves, Landware Elves, Landware Elves.
Yeah, so the best.
So-
So a common. It's common or uncommon? This is the best card in the set, guys.
It's a common. It's a common. It's
Okay,
always
so-
been a common.
so the
Will
best-
always be a common.
The best card in the set is a common. Thank Wizards. There you go. This card is really good because I don't know if you guys remember. I don't, maybe you don't remember Landware Elves, but this just it's mana acceleration. It's just really powerful.
In case you don't, yeah.
Yeah. It also lets you play the Steel Leaf Champion
Steel Leaf Champion, yes.
on turn 2. Like that's absurd, guys.
A 5/4, 4 is a really important number because it's higher than 3. And you also can't block it with creatures that you can play on like turns 1, 2, or sometimes 3. So
Your
if you go first,
Gift the Aetherborn, not so gifted anymore. Your Gaunty, nah, not good enough. He's attacking. He's not blocking him.
he's now.
Yeah. So anyway, Landware Elves number 1. Number 2, we go from common all the way up to the east side. Deluxe.
That's where the mythic rares live,
Yes,
on the east side.
east side. We're going to the history of Benalia. This card is a really good card. I don't say absurd.
It's a
but
really
it's
good card. It's a really the rate on this card is so
outrageous.
it's really outrageous. It's really outrageous, and it's so simple. Like the card looks like it's really simple. It's like, yeah, you make a 2/2 knight, make a 2/2 knight, bump your knights.
Easy.
Yeah. What's the big deal? Well,
and then you think about it. You're dead.
so any card that gives you multiple creatures, obviously, as we understand this in Magic, is good.
Yeah.
Because generally your opponents or people that you're playing against are not going to be able to deal with multiple creatures with singular cards, especially the larger they get. So, for example, what are the most common removal spells in Standard? Shock, Abrade, Lightning Strike, Moment of Craving, Vraska's Contempt. You're dealing with one of the knights.
Yeah. Just
Best
one.
case scenario.
And what's crazy, like it kind of avoids like board wipes too.
Because
Like,
what are you gonna do?
yeah.
Are you gonna be like, okay, well, I guess I'll take the hit from this one knight, and then wipe your other knight when it comes down. But what if you play something the turn after you play History of Benalia? Like anything, like another creature that survives.
Oh my god. Yeah, you're just dead. You're just pack it up.
It's not that crazy of a curve to go turn 2 knight, any knight, black knight, white knight, not specifically black knight, white knight, but cards in those two colors.
Just a knight,
turn 3 History of Benalia, turn 4 another knight that costs 4.
Yeah, or the knights that make there's a spell that makes 2 knight tokens.
Or the spell that makes 2 knights, yeah.
Then turn 5 you're dead.
It's 20 damage. Math adds up.
Yes. And I'll talk about this card. Now, I asked Justin an important question. Like, Justin, what do you fear more than turn 2 knight than just a turn 3 History of Benalia? What's worse than that?
And my initial answer was, well, the card that makes either a 4-drop knight or the card that makes 2 knights. I was like, that's pretty bad.
Right.
But there's something worse.
There's something worse. I was like, another history of Benalia.
Another History of Benalia on turn 4.
And you were like, what? Is that legendary? It's like, nope.
No, it's not
legendary.
Sagas are not legendary.
Yeah. So there's a lot of history of Benalia, and your opponent can take you to Benalia Town.
I think it's just Benalia. I think it's Benalia Town.
You're gonna learn today.
I don't think it's a town. Okay.
All right. So after
History of Benalia is number 2.
Yeah. After that, we're gonna go to Syncopate. Syncopate is
back to a common.
Yes, Syncopate's a good common. It's one that lets you counter on turn 2 without having to play Censor. Like, Censor's good, but Syncopate's good on turn 2, 3, 4, 5. Then like turn 10, it's like it depends. But it's just a good counter spell because like you don't have to play like hedge like 2 Essence Scatter, 1 Negate or whatever. You just play Syncopate. It's a good card. And on top of that, Syncopate exiles. And this is very important because, guys, there's a Scarab God.
Extreme Scarab God. What about Earthshaker Kenra?
All of them. There's a
lot about literally everything.
God Pharaoh's Gift. But yeah, a lot of things.
Things you want gone forever.
Forever. Get out of here.
Don't want to ever see it again.
That's back, and I think that's third best. Fourth best is a removal spell that we've been looking for forever. It's Seal Away. Yep. Seal Away is on par, I think, if not, I don't know if I want to say better, but it's on par, maybe better than Journey Nowhere.
I'll say it. I think it takes the best parts of Stasis Snare, which was a staple and standard for the entire legality of the card, the best part of Journey to Nowhere, which was criminally underplayed when it was legal, and it combines those two into a card that costs the same as Journey to Nowhere and has the same speed as Stasis Snare. Now, obviously, you can't get you're not getting untapped creatures, so you're not going to be in an aggressive white deck. You're not clearing away a blocker, right? Right,
but this is a fantastic approach deck. They've been looking for
this is insane and insane in a mid-range or control deck. Yeah. Any deck you might be attacked with a creature on the first 5 turns of the game. You want this card. This card's great.
God, we've been looking for this card forever. People have debated between Baffling End and the Aether Meltdown.
Baffling sucks, man.
It does suck.
That card's crap.
Is poop. Yes. This thing stops.
And that dinosaur looks so stupid.
It does look silly.
It's so stupid. Can you? I want to. I think it looks stupid. I mean, it looks like it has a low IQ. The dinosaur.
Oh my god. Parnell.
I'm just saying, man.
Oh my
look,
god.
Some dinosaurs look smarter. Zakama looks really smart. This dinosaur looks stupid.
All right, I'm
baffled.
It's
like,
where
do you go?
Going to go fast. I think Seal Away is the best removal spell in this set. It's very good. I
do too. And there's obviously, look, we understand there's other removal spells, and there's other removal spells you guys think we're going to talk about. Ali and I agree. Seal Away is the best removal spell in the set.
By not close.
I agree. Yeah.
Like Baffling End can hit Hazard. This thing has Hazard and everything else. Anyways, this card's good. It's really good. Next one, Adventurous Impulse. This card is a sorcery speed, 1 green. Look at the top 3 cards of your deck, put a land or a creature. It's basically a ponder for land or creature. It's worse Oath of Nissa because this will let you get a land creature or planeswalker.
Yeah.
It's still gonna be played though. It's still good enough.
Well, right now, green creatures with this set are way better than they were when Oath of Nissa was legal.
It's true.
So the fact that you have access to this tool now that you're actually proactively using, Oath of Nissa was primarily used for its ability to cast planeswalkers of any color or using any color mana, right? And it fixed you a little bit.
Yeah,
but
for
you're not you weren't playing it in like a creature deck as a ponder. Yeah. You're playing it because it did that, and you could also like fix your mana for planeswalkers. But this card, we've already talked about Landwar Elves and Stillleaf Champion, and Ali, you were talking about like a mono green or red green monsters deck. This is like the card selection that is going to get played in all of those decks.
Yeah, it's good. The only deck that doesn't see the only way that doesn't see play is in the deck that is playing dinosaurs. They might play communal dinosaurs instead. Yeah. But otherwise, if you play like Phoenix or Glorybringer, you want this one instead.
Absolutely. Okay, so to recap, top 5, we had 3 commons, 1 uncommon, and 1 mythic rare.
Yeah.
Those are top 5. That's great, though. Like, that's not a bad thing for this set.
No.
This set's really deep, and the fact that you can get all these really powerful cards with lower rarities, I think, is
A+.
A+.
Yeah. Good. Jinx. All right. Next one is Parnell's favorite, and I guess your favorite, the one that's under the radar, CGN Commander.
Well, it is under the radar. It's under the top 5. The radar's at 5. This is under the radar. This is under the radar. It's under the radar.
You guys are wrong. You guys are wrong.
Tell me where the radar is. This is where CGN Commander is.
He's not under the radar by any means.
Directly under the radar.
Yeah, whatever. CGN Commander is a very good card, obviously, guys. It comes into play. It puts 3 goblin into play. You can pay 2, sacrifice the goblin, deal 2 damage to any target you want. Red is getting so many good 4-drops and 5-drops. Like, it's absurd. Yeah. They have Hazoret, Rekindling Phoenix. Now they have Glorybringer. Now they have CGN Commander. And it's like, which one do you pick? I don't know. Just pick one. Pick them all. I don't know. Maybe pick do them all.
This is and you're gonna Ollie's gonna hate this, of course. One, because it's a red card, his least favorite color to play against. But
reach.
Red is at its most scary when it has tools at 4 and 5, because right now you can be aggressive with red. Obviously, as we've seen with Ramunap red, and just the mono red aggro deck, which we can't call Ramunap because there's nothing with Ramunap in the name anymore. Yeah. But even still, those cards are really powerful, and you have like Earthshaker, Oncrop Crasher, Hazoret, obviously, but then you have like Glorybringer and CGN Commander. You have to prepare for both of these cards, and they're so wildly different.
Yeah, oh my god.
If you're like, okay, I'm going to have Vraska's Contempt for Glorybringer because that's going to take care of that, and then they're like CGN Commander. Like, not only does Vraska's Contempt not do anything ever, but I'm probably going to take like 8 to 10 damage from this. Literally cannot do anything about it.
Yeah. And they have mana up, they just stack the one you target.
Exactly. Even if you're like, all right, I guess I'll pay 4 to target the CGN Commander with my Vraska's Contempt. It's like, all right, well, you're going to take 2 instead, and then I'm going to attack you, and you still have to interact with these 3 little goblins.
Yeah, it's gross.
And not to mention, if I ever play another CGN Commander, this turns into way more damage.
Rest in peace. Good night, sweet prince.
Yeah, and that's just in an aggressive deck. In the mid-range deck, this card is king.
Yeah, because it kills creatures. It kills your opponent's creatures.
Yes, because it kills creatures, and it clears the way for the creatures that are going to attack you to win, and it's obviously reach on top of that.
Let me clarify: it blocks, then kills creatures. Block.
Yes.
Before damage.
And that's the crazy thing. If you're playing in like a control deck, this is an excellent tool too.
Yeah.
Main deck or out of the sideboard. Because if you're like, you know what the best way to fight CGN Commander is?
Play CGN Commander.
CGN Commander. Yeah. It's a great card. One of my favorite cards.
Good card. Yep.
Under the radar. So luckily we're letting you guys know about it.
Under the radar.
Luckily we're letting you guys know about it. Also, I would be remiss if I didn't remind everyone that CGN Commander is like the drunk party girl.
Woo.
Brings her 3 friends. They don't really know what's going on. They're just tossing stuff around.
Like this?
Yep, drunk party girl.
Okay.
That's CGN Commander.
All right, the next one is not drunk party girl, but it is a fairy. It's Tough Fairy.
Okay, that was an excellent segue. I hope you can do that every time.
Teferi, Hero of Dominaria. Justin talked about this earlier. He said they finally got it right, and I think Justin, you tell me what you said.
About Teferi.
Yeah.
So
how they finally got the right control planeswalker finally.
So they've been trying really hard for years to get a blue-white planeswalker that has the ability to functionally play control how control players want to do it. Obviously, there's been Dove and Bond, which does control-y things, but it's pretty inefficient at it, and it's poor at either protecting itself while accruing card advantage or letting you progress your game plan.
Yeah. Also, yeah. Don't Bond's protection was not good. Okay.
No. Previously and before that, you had Venser's Sojourner, which is a really powerful planeswalker, but it forces you to play permanents and specifically like creatures with enter the battlefield abilities. Those tend to be more expensive, so the curve on your deck was a lot higher, and you had to rely on other cards to go along with Venser. So in
like
this
CJ
set,
Commander.
like CJ and Commander, in this set, they've given you a tool that we've already talked about in Cast Out that you can play exactly off of the 2 lands that you untap with Teferi's +1 ability, which draws you a card, which is exactly what control decks want to do, and untaps your 2 lands, so it's protecting it from the creature that's going to be attacking Teferi.
Yeah, and the Seal Away is what we're talking about.
Seal Away, yes, specifically.
Yeah, yep.
Um,
and
go ahead.
this basically makes Teferi cost 3 mana.
Yes, which is insane.
Absurd. Yeah, and it also does like if you his tuck his minus ability that takes permanent puts up to top. You can also like if you reroll it if you want to, like you can just like mill it away.
Mill it away.
Yeah.
But considering you're most likely playing control with this card, the fact that you get Cast Out and not only Cast Out, not only Seal Away, but you get Syncopate.
Yeah.
Which you can cast as like a Force Spike. If you're on the play and your opponent, I don't know, you cast Teferi on turn 5. You untap 2 lands. Any 5-drop that your opponent's going to play, if you have Seal Away or Cast Out or Seal Away or Syncopate, you're like dealer's choice. So like if they play a CJ Commander, I was like, well, I can just Syncopate it. If they play their own Teferi, I can just Syncopate it.
Yeah, what's even just more disgusting is like they can play Teferi, next turn untap, play Fumigate, and then hold up like three or 4 mana on your turn. Like
yeah, which is
they get to
not something you should be able to do.
They wipe the board and like, all right, well, it's like guys, it's like rewind. Do you know how good rewind? Maybe I don't know how good rewind was, but it's really good. It lets you play tap out control if you want to or not. Like
it's Garruk Wildspeaker, which is a card that was never able to make it in control because it's double green. It's like this is way too difficult to cast, but untapping lands is insane, and this comes with drawing a card too.
Yeah, it's gross. It's gross.
Yeah,
like let's you like divination. You can divination or Secrets of Varaska and like.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways to use small amounts of mana, and you're like, I don't mind casting these cheap spells on my turn if I'm just going to untap these 2 lands.
Yeah, I'm going to search for contact for free.
Like, yeah, sure, exactly. Which is, and it's really good. It's just really good.
Imagine like he's basically plus he's drawing a card and making a card in your hand cost 2 less.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
Really good.
Not to mention, his ultimate ability wins you the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's disgusting. Yeah, it's better than Venser. Venser's was when you cast a spell, exile permanent. His just whenever
you draw a card.
Whenever you play Magic, exile permanent.
Yeah, as you're playing the game of Magic,
just win the game.
Just draw a card. So let's say you ultimate Teferi, and then you're just like, all right, well here's this other Teferi. I'm gonna +1. I'm gonna draw a card. Exile that. Yeah. I'm gonna untap 2 lands. Just like, well.
Like your opponent had like a subtle of hope whenever you ultimate Venser because like maybe they have more cards.
They can brick.
Maybe
they can brick.
Yeah,
they can brick. They can brick on spells.
They're not breaking on the draw step.
You can't brick on a draw step unless you're putting something that says unless you have like Necropotence in play, and then you're just dead because they can draw as many cards as they want.
Yeah. All right. Teferi for number 7. Number 8.
Yes.
Number 8. We're lumping all these together because there's a lot of them.
Yes.
All the memorial lands minus the red one. The red
one. So we have Memorial to Glory, Memorial to Genius, Memorial to Folly, and Memorial to Unity. Memorial to War, while it looks really, really sweet, not very good.
Yes, it does. Memorial to War destroys a land for 4 or 5.
For 5 mana, which Field Ruin does for 2.
Yeah, exactly. So
that one's pretty simple. That one's pretty simple.
Yes. Genius is obviously good in blue decks. You get to draw 2 cards. Folly is the lets you raise dead. This card actually I think is really good because you can bring back your Noxus Gearhulk or your Scarab God or your whatever creature you milled. Like it's just a nice way to instant speed or even Torrential Gearhulk. Like can you imagine buying back your Torrential Gearhulk? That's kind of disgusting. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. I was down on this card. Obviously, like I'm all over black cards, and I was just like, I don't think this is good. And you're not thinking big enough, because like I'm wanting to return like some dumpy mid-range card that costs 3 or 4. And I'm always like, I'm going to return my Torrential Gearhulk.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, that's probably better.
And then Glimmer, yeah, it's gross. Yeah, and the green one obviously gets a creature.
Yeah, look at the top 5, which is a lot.
Yeah,
5 cards is a lot at instant speed, especially.
And what I'm excited for, you guys know all about Our Promise. Like Our Promise now makes me 2 zombies, gives me 2 lands, and if I want to, I can draw 4 cards because Memorial to Genius. Like really? All right, yeah. Let me do this.
I do think that the blue one is the best one.
I think the black one's actually better than blue black.
Really?
I think my back hero because
I mean that's awesome.
I think you have a split. I think you have some sort of split, but the black one's really good. It's so powerful. Like you obviously you want at least one black one. The black one's more powerful, but the blue one is good the entirety of the game, I guess. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, number 9.
Number 9. Yawgmoth's Vile Offering.
This is one of my favorite cards in the entire set for a number of reasons.
Because you're black.
But for standard, this is one of on raw power. This is one of the most powerful cards in the set.
Yes.
Now, it's hard to cast, no doubt. Costs 5. Need to control a legendary creature, but
luckily,
if you can get to it.
Luckily, you might have the Scarab God in play because he never dies, and he's in black. Surprise! Yep.
But I mean,
that's so scary. Like he's the god that people can play with. Yawgmoth's Vile Offering is a Scarab God. Yeah. And you're already like interested in like killing all your opponent's creatures. One, because you're playing black, and now you're just like, well, I'm gonna kill that and reanimate this. Yeah. Planeswalker.
Yeah, the fact that it gets planeswalkers is
absurd.
It's that's gonna be. I mean, like, honestly, I feel like this is one of the cards that if you resolve it, it's really, really difficult to lose.
Yes.
Like it's like outrageously difficult to lose.
I honestly believe Obzet's Aid was like fringe playable. Like wasn't like tier 1, but like people played it to bring out planeswalkers. Guys, this thing like kills a creature. It brings like a planeswalker. It's monocolored. I understand that legendary sorcery is hard to cast, but we still have the gods. And I think that's gonna be huge. So
life will find a way too.
Oh my gosh! Or you can go. Sorry. You play Gonti.
You say it. I'm mad too.
You play Gonti, Lord of Luxury. Nobody wants to kill that guy because he just stole your best card from your deck.
Yeah, how are you going to kill him? Are you going to spend a removal spell on him and you're going to attack him to him?
No one wants to do that. So you know what they're going to do? They're going to untap, carve into Yawgmoth's Vile Offering, and then bring back whatever else. Like,
yeah, because it doesn't matter if they respond when it's on the stack. It's like, I had a legendary creature when I cast this, so.
Yeah, nobody wants to attack or kill Gonti, because Gonti's like he the best card in your deck. He took it.
Yeah,
always.
Yeah, Gonti's dope. Okay, number 10.
Number 10 is Shoshana. Shoshana.
I think it's just Shauna.
No, I'm gonna call it Shoshana. Anna. Sisei's Legacy.
Okay.
I think she's good because she is the cheapest legendary creature in the set. So she turns on all the legendary stuff, like Mox Amber, legendary sorceries, everything else. On top of that, she has a pseudo hexproof type mechanic that says she can be targeted by abilities.
Yes, still going to be targeted by spells.
Not abilities, yes.
But other creatures that are using magic or artifacts or such.
She's like, nah.
Shake it off.
Yeah. I think she's good because she's just again cheap legend, turns on Mox Amber or whatever very quickly, and everything else very quickly. Also, there seems to be a green white tokens deck with like Huatli, all these Cyberlings, and all these other tokens and whatever, and like
she can get real big real quick.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think she's one to watch too.
Yep, I totally agree. Okay, so that's our top 10 for standard. We have some other lists, and we're gonna kind of just plow through these.
All right, you
ready?
You do one. I'll do another one.
Okay. I'm gonna shift gears from standard to modern.
Sure.
And I actually think that this set has a quite a few number of playable cards for modern, which is pretty unusual for a set in standard. Usually you just get one or two. I actually think there's at least 5 for this set. So my top 5 is one of yours is one of the ones, and this is in no particular order, but one's the card you think is under the radar, and that's Teshar Ancestor's Acolyte. Apostle, not Acolyte. There has to be, I just feel like there's some crazy combo with like some Eggs deck, like Cart Clan Ironworks, some shenanigans that you're going to be able to do where you're going to be able to cycle through your deck with this card. It looks, I mean, this is like ripe for a combo.
Absolutely.
In some way. It's a fairly reasonable body, but just getting it down so you can get its ability is probably worth it. The next card is a card that will appear on another list, Cast Down. There's going to be a lot less legendary creatures in modern than there are in standard, and Cast Down is probably just going to be the de facto like 2-mana black removal spell unless you have access to Terminate, so black and red. But if you're just playing black, Cast Down is just going to kill everything that you can kill.
Yeah, like Abzan.
Yeah, it kills small creatures, kills big creatures, everything in between.
Yeah, and also kills artifact creatures, which is important.
Also kills artifact creatures.
Good,
yeah.
So
it's excellent against Affinity.
Yep.
Wizard's Lightning is another one. We've obviously talked about. We talked about this when we were talking about the decks. There's a lot of wizards in modern, including one Snapcaster Mage.
And Delver of Secrets.
Actual Delver of Secrets, not insectile aberration, but Delver of Secrets. And that's just like, those are just the 2 best ones. But Vendilion Click's also a wizard. So this is literally just another lightning bolt. There's also some red wizards, as we discussed earlier, and I think you would be heavily incentivized to play 4 extra lightning bolts if you can. So I feel like someone's going to make this work in either a red-blue or a mono-red wizard deck. Karn, Scion of Urza, I think is significantly better in modern than it is in standard. You have a lot more artifacts hanging around. This card is really grindy, and while it's probably too slow for the affinity type decks. If they are ever interested in finding some sort of card advantage, this is going to be the go-to card, because it's obviously benefited by artifacts heavily, but it's not an artifact itself, so it's not going to get hit by all the other stuff that hits affinity. And then the number 1 card, this one I am going to put the number on. Number 1 card for modern, Damping Sphere. This is a brutal hate card against Storm, against Tron. It's just gonna see a lot of play in sideboards everywhere. Yeah. And yes, it doesn't just beat these decks.
No.
But the point is to slow them down significantly enough to where fair decks can have a chance to play Magic, and that's exactly what this card is going to be able to do.
Yep.
All right, Ollie.
Yep.
Your top 5 for another one.
All right, I'm gonna do top 5 brewer cards. These cards, guys, are cards that invoke you to brew around them. Like, I'm not including cards like Oath to Fairy, because there's that card you can play in any Planeswalker deck. I'm not including cards like Karn Support Sundering, because that card you can just play in any deck. These are cards that like ask you to build around them, and they're exciting to build around. So my number 1 build around card for the set is Lich's Mastery. That card is just so sweet, has so much flavor, and it asks you to build around it, and the reward is so big. It's great. I think that's a sweet card for brewers to...
Two thumbs up from me.
There you go, to brew around. After that one, I think the next one is Kamal's Druidic Vow. This one is like Genesis Wave, but again, you have to build around it. You have to know like how many creatures you need to have to ramp, what your payoff. Are you vowing into Planeswalkers or creatures or what? Like what legendary things are you hitting? There's a lot. There's a lot. So I think this one's also a nice one to build around too. After that one, another sweet one I think is Primeval's Glorious Rebirth. This one is the one that reanimates all legendaries from your graveyard, puts them into play. So like artifacts, lands, everything, brings them all back. This is an excellent next one to brew around too. It's super fun, and like what's more epic than bringing back like 3 planeswalkers, different names? Like that's just crazy. It's so awesome.
Probably nothing.
Yeah, That's
like
just,
I mean, the upside for this card is infinite.
Yeah, it's sweet. It's a sweet card, and there's plenty of ways to mill yourself. Like we have that
also gets back legendary lands.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah,
great card. There's also plenty of ways to play yourself too. There's like the artifact perpetual timepiece, and there's like ton of blue ones. But anyways, I think this card is awesome. A little bit around. Next one I'll talk about is the Mending of Dominaria. I think the Mending of Dominaria is a fun one. It puts the top card of your library, top 2 cards of your library into your graveyard. Then eventually, it brings all your land cards in your graveyard back into play. I think you could like build a green-white ramp deck with like Fall of the Thran, destroy lands and bring all yours back. Like you could do some like pretty cool stuff or pretty fun stuff, or you just mill yourself like a lot, so you bring back all lands.
Yeah.
Don't
you? I know you might have left this all off on accident, which I think is funny. But Mending of Dominaria says put the top 2 cards of your library into your graveyard, then you can return a creature from your graveyard to your hand. Yeah, I know you're not interested in returning the creature part, but that is something that you get to do
if you want to.
If you feel like you just want to play with creatures randomly, yeah, I mean, this crazy concept.
It is crazy. I'm not sure if you guys want to do that, but you could if you want to. Okay. But it's sweet because you could build like a sweet like green-white ramp deck with like Fall of the Thran, Mending of Dominaria, or the other card that gives all your creatures or all your lands indestructible, makes them 1/1s. Sylvan Awakening, and then Fall of the Thran. It's pretty cool. Yeah. Okay, then the last one I'm talking about is Precognition Field. This one, of course, you have to build around. Precognition Field.
All you can do.
Yeah. Precognition Field lets you look at the top of your library anytime you want. You can cast instants and sorceries off the top of your library, and you can pay 3 mana to exile the top card of your library. This is like a Toss Back to Future Sight, but a little different. It's different. But
different meaning significantly worse.
Exiling the top card of your library is a pretty big deal.
Okay.
It is worse. But exiling libraries is a thing. I do think it is definitely a build army card. More so than Future Sight. Future Sight you can just jam. Precognition Field asks you to play instants and sorceries.
Yeah.
And it is definitely a build army card. So those are my top 5 best or most fun brew cards.
Okay. I like that list. All right, I'm gonna go with the top 5 cards we didn't include for standard. Okay. Probably should have led with this one last time while we were fresh off standard, but you know what? We didn't. Here we go. Yep. Cast Down. It's a removal spell.
It is.
It's efficient. Costs 2. Ollie, you and I both think there's going to be a lot of legendary creatures in standard.
Yeah. Yes. It's nice to hit. It's nice to hit Glorybringer. It's nice to hit Glorybringer. And
it's really good to hit Glorybringer.
That's Glorybringer, and that's like it. Doesn't hit Hazoret. Doesn't hit
Scarab God.
It does say Kindling Phoenix, but exactly.
Once, yeah,
it does like
it partially stops Rekindling Phoenix.
Yes. Yeah.
This kind of has the bad thing of like all the cards that we. Okay, so here's the cards that we talked about on our list today. Landwar Elves. Okay. If they have Landwar Elves, they have scarier stuff in their deck.
Yeah.
Not going to cast it on that. History of Benalia. We talked about the 1-for-1 not working against that card.
Yeah.
Sieging Hand Commander. This is even worse than History of Benalia. Yeah. Shauna, Sisei's Legacy. That is clearly a legendary creature.
Yeah.
There's more. Kari Zev. Can't kill that one.
Yeah, not kill Kari Zev is like cringy.
Here's the thing though, like this is a good card.
It is.
And you're still gonna play if you're playing black. You're gonna play this card because it costs 2, but
it's not a 4-of.
You're gonna be frustrated at the times that you're like, man, I didn't realize this was legendary till I had to, and now I can't cast it, and I'm in trouble.
Yeah, it doesn't look Gaunty, and like a lot of cards in the set like once you play legendary. So I think this will be like a 2 of 1 of, maybe more in the sideboard, because it does kill like the Steel Leaf Champion like a lot of stuff.
It's probably gonna be good against like the monsters deck.
Yeah,
maybe, but I mean,
maybe
the thing is like if there's so many legendary creatures, you can make this card bad if you want.
Yeah, absolutely.
Something to think about.
Yeah.
Card number 2 is a card that we talked about again for Modern, and that's Karn, Scion of Urza. I don't think there's enough artifacts in Standard that are powerful enough for this card to really be as. This card has a ton of raw power, but in Standard, it's going to be really in that Metalwork Colossus type shell that Ollie was talking about earlier, or there's not much else. Now, obviously, artifacts get printed with every set, so a lot of time for this card to be one of the best cards in Standard, but as it stands right now, I don't think it is.
I think this is the most overhyped card in the set by a clear mile.
I do too, but I do think that this is. I say this card is. I think this card is going to see a trajectory similar to Chandra Torch of Defiance, where that card was hyped through the roof initially. For the first 6 months, saw virtually no play. And then people were like, oh, yeah, this card's really powerful. It's probably worth us trying to make something work. And I think cards are going to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Next card is Shyly, Voice of Plenty. This is the angel that gives you, your planeswalkers, and all your other creatures hexproof. I do think this card is powerful, but ultimately, if you can't activate the 6-mana ability where you put a +1/+1 counter on all of your creatures, this is just an efficient creature, and those don't tend to do it, even when it comes with marginally good abilities.
Yeah, but I agree with you. I do think this will see play like we might token or something, because she's still powerful.
It's still a powerful card. We're not saying it's not powerful.
Yeah.
Also powerful, Lyra Dawnbringer. It's crazy that we're saying this about a Baneslayer Angel that's arguably better than Baneslayer Angel.
It's worse.
Do you?
I honestly do, because I think in control decks, like sometimes you play Baneslayer Angel to block, like it holds the fort. Your opponent can't attack anymore.
Yeah.
They play the second one. Now you can like attack with one, hold one back, or attack with both. But you can't do that.
Yeah, but you can't kill this with Cast Down.
Sure. But Lyra, you can only have one Lyra at a time.
That's true. That's true.
I think it's a much bigger drawback than people realize.
Yeah, I mean, it is, and obviously you've been on that side of it more frequently than most people. This is still a good card,
yeah.
But also removal is pretty good right now.
It also doesn't pass the contempt test. Like the best removal spell is versus contempt, and this costs more than it. Like if the card costs more than contempt, you really want to do something like the Scare
also
God.
Also like, Chupacabra. This just gets got just immediately by Chupacabra.
Or Hush Taker. Like if your card costs 5 and if your card costs more than 4,
it needs to have like an enter the battlefield ability or something.
Yes,
or attack, have haste like Glorybringer. So
yes,
and this is a good card. Like this card will see play for sure.
Yeah.
But it's I don't think it makes the top 10. And then the last card is go ahead.
I'll say it's not Second Dawn of Baneslayer Angel.
It's not.
Second Dawn, get it? Dawn
it did not bring the Dawn as promised.
There you go.
And then the last card on the card we didn't include list is Mox Amber. This card has a lot of upside, but I think people are misinterpreting how difficult this is to utilize. It kind of only ramps you when you're already doing something.
Yeah.
So it's best when you're playing with cheap creatures. Now, obviously, we did talk about Shauna, and we talked a little bit about Baral earlier. Cheap legendary creatures are going to make this really good because obviously it is a Mox, costs 0, increases your mana, but
how many do you play though? You play 4. You can't play 4 really. You play 3.
Yeah, no, that's the thing.
It's like it's the dead. It's weird. It's weird. It's dirty.
And it only gets you farther. It doesn't help you cast the cards that you're probably wanting to cast in your deck.
It's so weird because like you want it like you don't want it super late. Super late, it's like a land, right?
Worse,
yeah,
probably.
So you want this in the sweet spot of like the middle because like you don't want early because you don't have legendary creature. So you want like turn 3, turn 4, turn 5ish, turn 6 maybe, like
yeah.
It's a small window, and you can't play 4 really. So it's like I think it's good. It's 100% we'll see play. But it's not a 4 of, I don't think. It's unless you have like a sack outlet or something.
Yeah, but. and that's the thing. It's like it's in a really weird spot.
Yeah.
unlike all the other like Moxen that we've seen, not obviously the Alpha Moxen, but like Mox Diamond, even you can play multiple because it's not legendary and it's
Yep.
really specific to what it's trying to do. Mox Opal, obviously, the ability to turn that on is not difficult.
Chromox, same thing.
Chrome Mox, same thing. Chrome Mox, arguably the most powerful of these.
Yep.
But what Mox Amber fits in a really weird. It's just a weird spot because unlike Mox Opal, historically artifacts are really cheap, and historically legendary creatures are not cheap.
Yeah.
So it's asking a lot more, even though you don't have to have like three like you do with Mox Opal. It's only asking for one. Um, it's requiring more mana than it's outputting every time.
Yeah. All right.
So, all right. Last top five list.
Real quick, I got top 5 best flavor.
Oh, this is a good one.
All right. I'll just number 1, Yawgmoth Vile Offering.
Absolutely.
You want to tell
I
us
think
why?
the art for this card is completely insane.
Yeah.
It shows kind of the final scene where Urza and Gerard fought in the Phyrexian arena, and Yawgmoth is making a bargain to Gerard. And there's just so much going on in the art. Obviously, we talked about like what the card physically does and how that, like, obviously it's playability, but also like kind of elicits the flavor of what it's doing because it's literally happened right after Gerard lopped Urza's head off.
Yeah.
In the Phyrexian arena, is holding his head in his hand, and of course it kills a creature and then returns a creature because Urza ultimately Urza Planeswalker didn't die necessarily because he couldn't just die because his head was chopped off. And the flavor text is: centuries ago, a mad god offered a simple trade, and of course Gerard did not take the trade, but it's him standing in the Phyrexian arena with dead bodies everywhere, and it's completely insane looking art. Noah Bradley, who has knocked it out of the freaking park in this set, did the art on this, and it looks amazing.
Yep. Next one is Yargle, Glutton of Orborg.
It's a freaking frog spirit.
Legendary.
Legendary frog spirit. It's a 9/3 for 5. And it literally tells a story on the card.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
that alone.
How much more flavor do you want?
Yeah, how much more? Literally, how much more? This is probably number one.
Probably one, yeah.
But I love Yawgmoth's Vile Offering. That's probably like Yawgmoth's Vile Offering is probably it may be my favorite card in the set. It's definitely one of the top 3. But Yargle is like, dude, it's perfect. It's just like the whole card is just flavor. Like that's all that it is.
Yeah,
is just flavor.
Yeah, it's sweet. All right, next one is I'm gonna say Arcane Flight.
Okay.
Arcane Flight it's just hilarious. Okay, Arcane Flight is the flying cat, and the flavor text is the Tolarian academies are known for their magical research, powerful sorcerers, and accidental destruction of ecosystems. So it's just adorable and hilarious and like, oh crap, there's no more birds now. Like
yeah,
it's just funny.
Yeah, because it shows a cat with the arcane wings on it, and it's just like going after these cats, which it's no doubt been trying to get at for.
It's like this. It's like.
Yeah.
It's like give that bird, give that bird. That's hilarious. All right, so after that we have we'll go with Wizard's Lightning and Wizard's Retort.
So we got the combo.
Because that one you have to like kind of look for.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wizard's Lightning flavor text reads, the study of magic began when the first mage taught herself to throw lightning. So that's how it began.
Part 1 to the story. Yeah.
Yeah. Part 2 to the story is, which is the wizard's. Oh my goodness, this is bad.
Wizard's Retort.
Yes.
Don't worry.
Found it. Alright, it says the second mage learned to dissipate blasts of lightning, threat and response. Thus did the study of magic progress. It's just like the cool like Always the fight between blue and red. So,
And it also shows the red mage firing lightning at this township on Wizard's Lightning, and then on Wizard's Retort, it shows from the other side of this canyon a wizard protecting the township with a protective bubble.
Yeah,
drawn by the same artist, and it's just like the cards look. They don't look identical, but they look very similar because it's depicting the same scene.
I actually think Wizard's Lightning is a throwback to Lightning Bolt, where it says, "The spark mage shrieked, calling on the rage of the storms of his youth. To his surprise, the sky responded with a fierce energy held he'd never thought he'd see again." So,
yeah,
it's cool. It's cool flavor. Okay.
It is. It's a cool story, and that's Grzegorz Rutkowski was the artist for both of those cards.
The last one we have is Guy's Blessing. Guy's Blessing is just this Kamal's sword. Is it Kamal's sword?
I don't think it's not Kamal's sword because it was the sword that the soldier
you're right.
had stuck in the ground on the Weatherlight version of Guy's Blessing.
Yeah, you're right.
And now it has become the central focus of the art, and it's covered in moss and vines. And the flavor on this, there's no flavor text, but it is. But the point of the card is you shuffle 3 cards from your graveyard. Obviously, your graveyard represents like the past and spells that you've used before back into your deck, and you draw a card. So it's kind of like reusing old, and obviously that's exactly what
also the
art looks like.
Also, this card's a really good card for like graveyard removal for your opponent. Like if you want to remove cards, you move 3 of them, put them back in the deck, and you draw a card.
Yes, because it says target player.
Yeah,
and it cycles itself.
Yeah, which is great.
Also protects you from mill as a nice little convenient side effect.
Whatever.
If you put into your graveyard from... Look, I got to worry about stuff like that, man. I don't know who's going to roll up on me with a fraying sanity or some other... So
You're right.
I just got to be prepared in my house with some Guy's Blessing. That's all I'm saying.
Do you have some... All right, I got you. I understand.
I'm just saying I've been scarred before, and I just want to be prepared.
I don't blame you.
Okay.
All right, real quick.
All right.
Lightning speed.
Let's close it out with some best and worst. All right, Ollie, we'll just alternate back and forth.
Sure.
Best and worst sagas.
How about you say best, and I'll say the worst. Go. You say best saga, I'll say the worst saga.
Okay. Best saga is obviously History of Benalia. The rate on this card is insane. We covered it earlier. This card blows pretty much every other saga out of the water.
Yeah. Worst one is Time of Ice. Time of Ice is the 4 cost, taps the creatures for 2 turns, then bounces the 2 type creatures. Like what? It's like a evacuation that's really bad. No.
And you could say that this one it's because it's uncommon, but there's other uncommon sagas that are not nearly as bad.
Yeah, that sounds really bad.
This one's just not good.
Yeah.
All right. Monocolored mythic rares. The worst one for me is Multani Yavimai's Avatar. It costs 6, has trample and reach. It's really grindy, but it doesn't do anything when it comes into play, and it dies to virtually everything.
Yeah.
Except for cast down.
Yeah. It dies to everything in the set in the standard format. Exiles, cast out, binding, sail wreckage, seal away, whatever. So we'll say best is Lyra Dawnbringer of the cycle.
Even though we were talking junk about it earlier, it's still good. Obviously, yeah, it's still 5/5 life link for striker.
All right, best tribe. I'm gonna go with Wizards.
Yeah.
All right, what's the worst one?
Worst tribe. I'm gonna go with Goblins. Even though you get CGN Commander and you even get Goblin War Chief,
really
the rest of the Goblins are really lacking. It's kind of crazy. Also, how are you gonna have? Like, I understand that, and we'll get to this in a sec. Well, you know what? I'll go on. We'll go on to the next one so I can rant them.
All right. The best triple color rare. I'm gonna say good. By a mile, the Steel Leaf Champion. Like that's
Country Mile.
Yeah, especially with Llanowar Elf.
That's longer than a normal mile.
Yeah.
Just to clarify.
Thank you.
And again, on my Goblin rant, worst is definitely Goblin Chain Whirler. You can't even, while you can give this haste with Goblin War Chief, which is in this set, you can't reduce its mana cost. So I understand it's part of a cycle, but like this card doesn't have haste on its own. It has First Strike, which of course is like a red mechanic, but it just deals 1 to every creature and then to each opponent. Like I don't know. The fact that like Steel Leaf Champion literally is a significantly more aggressive card than the red one is just shows the power difference.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you could say the Warlord is good against tokens, but so is a good one. The good one
Yes.
never block my tokens. All right, best legendary sorcery.
Obviously, this is Yawgmoth's Vial offering. This is we've talked about this card a lot in multiple different times. I think this card is fantastic, super awesome. I think Ollie agrees. Ollie, what is the worst legendary sorcery?
I'm gonna say Urza's Ruinous Blast.
Woo.
I know. People going crazy, but I don't think you can really play this main deck. Like the time you're casting Urza's Ruinous Blast is like turn like 5, 6, 7, and you're not killing Planeswalkers. You're not killing Hazoret. You're not killing the Scarab God. You're not killing any other gods. You're not killing a legendary creature. Like you can't play this main deck. It's too risky to play main deck.
Yeah,
which is crazy. All the ones you can play main deck.
You know what you get to kill? All of the haste creatures that have already hit you.
Basically, it's so slow. I just like Fuma gets better than this, I think. And like if you want to actually kill everything, just play Hour of Reckoning. Like this one's too risky to play main deck.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah,
and I think this card reads really well.
It sounds sweet.
I think it plays really poorly because you're like, oh man, I can play my legendary creatures or planeswalkers and make sure those don't die. Well, guess what? Your opponent has access to the same cards as you do, and they're probably playing a lot of the same ones.
Even Hardicaran, man. Like, what are you doing with your life?
All right, Ollie, I'm going to leave both of these to you.
Okay.
What is the best and worst card in Dominaria?
The best and worst card in Dominaria?
Well, no. Like, what? Obviously, it's not the same card. What's the best card in Dominaria, and what's the worst card in Dominaria?
The best card and worst. Okay, the best card in Dominaria, History of Benalia.
Overall?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
And worst card. You say it. Haphazard.
You're doing great. You did it.
Card's
Good
awful.
job.
Like, you know what? I don't even want to read it. I don't want to read it.
So I'm not going to read it, but I do want to point out that this was the only rare that was not previewed by Wizards. They literally just stuck it in the visual spoiler,
like,
and they were like, "No one look at it. No one look at it."
Yeah, they gave it no one to spoil. No one got to spoil. Like, I'm glad we got some people later this card.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, by a mile.
So I would have been. I mean, like, I was really happy that we got a preview card. But if we got this, I would have been like,
it would have been funny. It would have been funny, but yeah, exactly, yeah.
We'd be like, well, this doesn't cost 7 mana.
Yeah, I'd have been like, is it April?
It's only 1 red.
I'd have been like, is it April 1st? Is it April Fool's Day?
No, it was April 2nd. Our preview card was on April 2nd.
Yeah.
Okay. Ollie, any other thoughts on Dominaria? We've spent like
extra time.
An hour and
this could be
over an hour.
This could be the whole podcast.
It could be.
All right.
It could be. Should it be? No?
I don't know.
You're still going back and forth.
No, it's just a story.
Okay. All right. We're going to try to so we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about we'll do real quick the flavorfully named Return to Dominaria episode 6. Ollie, while the story name Return to Dominaria Episode 6 might be the most appropriately named of all of the Return to Dominaria stories.
Are we gonna joke about this every time?
What joke? I'm being serious.
Oh, okay.
Even though the name tells so much about the story, give us a brief rundown of what happened in this story.
Okay. All right. This story is about Teferi. There's a monument. Guys, I'm tagging out.
Monument.
There's a monument that was built by Urza that held something Teferi needed to save Zhalfir. The Zhalfir is his homeland where he phased out.
He poofed it away. It's been poofed.
Yes, because they're the most advanced, and they thought they could take the Phyrexians. He's like, nah.
They're the Wakanda of Dominaria.
Exactly. Yep.
I see you, wizards. It's Wakanda. I see you.
But,
anyway.
Yeah, but Wakanda copied them, though, right?
No.
No?
No, definitely not.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm 100%
Alright,
sure.
so his daughter, which is 50 years old by the way, thinks she has a mathematical way to solve the puzzle that's in this monument to crack it and get the thing out. They go down there, they try to do it, they fail. Jorah shows up. Jorah's like, "Hey, I think your daughter's on something, but I don't think Urza played fair. I think he's cheating. I think we should go back." They go back, and Jorah's like, "I think there's actually things here that are phased, like that are not in this realm." He's like, Jorah's like, "Yeah, but I can sense phase things that are out." She's like, "No, talk about ghosts. You can't sense ghosts." Lyanna's there too. He's like, "Yeah, there's ghosts here. I can see them." So they start.
I see the ghosts.
I see dead people. Lyanna says, "I see dead people, guys." 6 sense. Then they start doing all this mathematical stuff. They're getting attacked more and more and more and more, and they're fending them off. There's Gideon, they have Lyanna, they have Jorah, they have all the best people. They have Raph.
Well, all the best people and Raph.
So then they do it. They get they win. He reaches down. He grabs this item thing, and he's why he's doing this? He's like, Urza expected. He thinks in his head, Urza, you expect me to fail because I'll be doing this alone, but I'm not like you. I have friends. And so Urza made this thing where Teferi would 100% fail if he ever tried to do it by himself, and he succeeded. And even with
because he used other people.
Yeah. Or Urza succeeded in his trap, but Teferi's other people he was able to succeed. And then from there, Teferi's like, "Okay, you help me with this. We've agreed that I'll help you. Let's go defeat Belzenlock." And then as he's on the Weatherlight, says bye to his daughter. He leaves, and then Jorah's like pulls out this like little thing. She's like, "I have a spark. Now I'm gonna need him to take it, but it's gonna be very hard to make him take it." And that's where it ends.
Yep. So first, Black Panther debuted in 1966, and Wakanda was first mentioned in 1968. So they got him by a few years.
Let the record show that Teferi's going to phase in Zalfir, and they're going to love him. He's going to be a hero of Dominaria.
Oh my gosh, where could you possibly get that? Get the name Hero of Dominaria.
I mean, I don't know.
If only there were some cards we could ignore that would prove this right. Okay, so I like this story because it was like it's like a fun little adventure story. Yeah. I like the interactions between Teferi and her his daughter Nambia. I liked this representation of Teferi because he's clearly extremely intelligent. Like, he enjoys going to do this puzzle, even though it would have killed almost everyone else. Yeah. He knew that Urza set it up where Urza was absolutely trying to kill him if he messed up, but Urza also knew that Teferi wasn't going to mess up and wouldn't ultimately die. He would just fail repeatedly, which is what he wanted him to do because, again, as we've been saying, Urza, not the nicest dude in the whole world. He's kind of a jerk.
They actually reference that here.
Yes, they do. Yeah, and he is. He's totally a jerk.
Yeah.
Liliana points it out like multiple times. She's like, this guy, she's like, I'm not nice. This guy is really not nice.
Yeah.
I like that they showed that Gideon was confused by math. I thought that was funny.
It's like, whatever.
He's like at some point it's like, I don't get it. And then you lost Gideon about 10 seconds in.
No, 2 seconds. He's like who's immediately lost. It's like he said as soon as one said a word, no one said a word. He's like, all right.
Where's something I can hit?
Yeah.
Where's something I can punch? Raph is getting on my nerves. I feel he's like this know-it-all kid that doesn't know anything. And see, this is what makes me really concerned about the whole bloodline thing, because he seems mostly useless. but he's on there because he's a Capuchin. So what does Jorah want? I don't know. I can't figure it out. Anyway, Liliana's great. They literally could not have done this without her. There was obviously everyone kind of played an important role, but
she played the biggest role.
She played the biggest role other than Teferi himself.
Yeah.
And the math puzzle was cool, even though we didn't really hear about the
Yeah.
um, and then we get to the locket. Stretch here.
Before we get there, though, I think it's kind of unique that we talked about Urza a lot. Like, there's a lot more talking Verza, a lot more talking Verza. Are we gonna see Urza at the last episode, like, and he walks through the door?
No, I don't think so.
All right.
I don't think so.
Are you sure?
I don't think. No, I'm not. I'm not.
Okay.
I feel like how they got to this story and how they've kind of put this story together. I've been a little disappointed because I felt like we were like, oh, what is this? What is Joyra's locket? It's like, oh, this is how Teferi becomes a major character again because she just has his spark. Just has a spark. She's got it
from the majoring network or the
network.
Yeah.
No, from when the time rift was closed on Shiv.
Yeah.
She's got it. She's been holding on to it for all this time.
Yep.
And just now, like now she's like,
I mean, I guess
this is a good time to try to get it back to him.
I guess I'll find out next time on Dragon Ball Z.
Do you remember when I talked about oh my gosh, I don't know what story it was, but a MacGuffin, which is an element in a story that basically is a thing that serves a purpose to advance the story. Magic doesn't usually do MacGuffins, but I feel like the locket is like a MacGuffin. It's like, this is how Urza has to get his spark back because Joyra conveniently has this thing.
Or you mean Teferi, not Urza?
Oh, not Urza, Teferi. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Teferi gets his spark back.
Yeah.
With this magical thing. I don't know. Obviously, that's the opt art is him holding this, and obviously we know what he decides to do.
This story has so much spoilers. So much spoilers. It's so slow.
Can we go back and talk about how
it's so slow?
How brutal these cards are that spoil the entire story?
Never this bad because like this story is slower.
It's 12 stories.
It's slower. It's longer, and it's spoiled. Like
we know every beat. We know literally every beat that's going to happen in this entire story.
Yeah.
And
except the ending. Like I'm hoping there's something at the end that you thought like maybe we see something crazy. So we'll see. That's it. That's all I'm hoping for because we know Liana beats Bells and Lock.
Yep.
We know she default on her debt.
Yep.
Which Nicol Bolas somehow wrote in the contract that if you do that, you're under his control now.
Yep.
We see that in both clutches. So like she kills Bells and Lock, she defaults on her debt, she doesn't pay, and Bolas like, well, this fine print says if you do that, if you don't default, then you're mine.
I gotcha. I tricked you. Now you're mine.
Yeah, and it's just like, okay. Teferi gets a spark back. Okay, he's a hero Dominaria. Okay. Next.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. They're like I've enjoyed
reading the stories and learning about all this stuff. Like I enjoy that, but it just sucks knowing like the sword, getting his sword, the freaking sword to slay Bells and Lock.
That honestly, that is the part of this entire story that I think I'm most interested in because, like, as it
There's some shade around it. You don't know what's going on.
Well, not only that, but like, man, we've complained. We, meaning like me specifically, I've complained about the Gatewatch and like their overuse. Their overuse in the story, and then as it turns out, it's like, well, actually, I kind of just want to see what's happening with like Gideon and Liliana, and all these people. Otherwise, are boring me some.
Yeah.
And it's not that I don't find Teferi and Joyra interesting. It's just like, well, they're not. I'm interested in the bigger picture, and I guess Teferi's going to be part of the bigger picture based on other cards that we've known. Again, just because we have to look at cards. Yep. Because some oath type thing.
Yeah.
But if it's not pushing towards the larger picture, which we know isn't Bells and Lock, because he's going to bite the dust here in about 2 stories. Like where does that leave us? I don't know. Like the Black Blade is interesting because that's going to be something that's going to carry on beyond this story. Hopefully Teferi and Joyra make me like they have time because there's 6 more stories. They have time to make me care, but they just haven't done it.
And their time
yet.
ages.
Yeah, yeah. We still haven't heard about the Thran Temporal Gateway. That's sure to be pretty messed up
I bet you
when
that's,
we get to
that's
that.
the thing that Teferi is gathering pieces for.
Maybe.
Maybe. We'll see.
I don't know. It's gonna. I mean, there's. I guess my interest is kept because they're proposing a lot of questions that I don't have the answers to yet. I'm just worried that when I get the answers, I'm not going to be satisfied, and maybe that's on me. Maybe maybe I've built this up too much.
Maybe. I think it'd be fine, honestly, if it wasn't for just knowing honestly wondering if Teferi's gonna take his spark back or not. The turmoil, he's next story is gonna be a turmoil about it.
Man, think about how sweet this would have been if we knew this whole story and then we got to see all these cards spoiled. And we're like, oh, that was the moment when he did this. That was the moment when this happened. That was the moment when this happened.
Yes.
Nope.
And it's again, I mentioned this earlier. It's like the person that reads the book. They go to the movie oh, okay, I remember these parts, and they have a slight edge in the person that did not read the book. I think that'd be cool to have for Magic.
Yeah.
Just give us a story before the cards are revealed.
I do too.
I think it's sweet because then we look oh yeah, I remember that story. Oh yeah, I remember that part. Oh, this makes sense. This is the picture of that when that happened.
Yeah, and you see it depicted you've created this image in your head first.
Yeah,
and you can still show us the images. You can still show us the card art in the stories. You don't have to show us what the cards are, what they do.
Yeah,
they do that all the time.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
No, you do know. We do know. Yeah.
We do know. I feel defeated.
It's okay.
I feel defeated as Teferi was for the 50 years that he was working on that puzzle. Getting nowhere.
It's alright. It's okay.
Yeah. I like Shauna. I want to just throw that out there. Because she's she is similar to Gideon, but she also doesn't take crap from anybody. I don't know. I like the little small writings in her story.
Yeah, I want to go back to the Church of Sarah. See what they're doing.
Yeah, now I am interested with that because
maybe they're the Thran device.
Something's happening, and I don't know what. But something's definitely happening.
We'll see.
Yeah. Okay. Ollie, anything else on the incredible named Return to Dominaria Episode 6?
No, but I'm ready for the next one.
Oh my gosh. Can you imagine? with the next one?
What
Return to Dominaria Episode 7?
Do you know? Wait, is that what it's called? Are you sure?
No, I don't know. It's speculation.
Okay. That'd be kind of crazy.
It would be crazy, right? This is this is a wild guess though.
Yeah. Okay. I mean,
that's probably too crazy. That's probably not it. Okay. All right. All right. So we're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, question of the week.
Question of the week.
All right, Ollie. Question of the week. You're supposed to do your little question of the week.
Oh, question of the week.
There it is. Okay, so we have a fun question of the week this week. As we said at the top of the show, we have been asked by Wizards to join in the MTG Arena Dominaria Early Access event that a lot of streamers are going to be taking part of next week, April 25th, on our streaming channel, twitch.tv/ThinkTwiceMTG. We want to hear from you is what card do we want to brew for during that time? We have 4 options for you. 4 options, okay? Lich's Mastery.
Primeval's Glorious Rebirth. Oath of Teferi. And then Joda, Archmage Eternal. Let us know.
So, Lich's Mastery, Primeval's Glorious Rebirth, Oath of Teferi, and Joda, Archmage Eternal. Little something for everyone. Let us know what card we should be trying to brew around and making the most of our opportunity next week. So, outside of that, Ollie, where can people find you?
Find me at gatheringmagic.com. There's no article for me this Friday, but next week there's one every day for the side review from Dominaria.
It's like almost 5.
Yeah, no. It's 5. And then you can find me on twitter.com/Ali Aintrazi, twitch.tv/Ali Aintrazi. Ali Aintrazi everywhere.
Everywhere.
All right, what about you, Parnell?
You can find me on the Twitter at jparnell1, and of course I'm the host of the Commander Versus series on StarCityGames.com and YouTube. Spoiler alert.
Again.
A lot of spoilers this week. Commander Versus is returning next week. No one else knows that. Only the people who just heard this from the podcast.
Wow.
So right now, only you and Director Che are the only one that knows until we release this. Well, Bolus always knows. Yeah, that's not quite the same thing. If you want to find us, find the show Thinktwice, and in a format other than you're watching or listening right now, SoundCloud, iTunes, and YouTube are the primary ways. You can find us, of course, Thinktwice MTG on all of those formats. You can also contact the show directly on Twitter at ThinktwiceMTG on Twitter, or ThinktwiceMTG@gmail.com if you want to send us a little personalized message that not everyone in the world can see. You can also follow us, as we mentioned, on Twitch, twitch.tv/ThinktwiceMTG. We're streaming 1 or 2 times a week. Sometimes we're doing solo streams. Sometimes we're doing dual streams with Ali and myself.
And
that's been a lot of... Well, Bolus is always involved. He always knows. He's always there. He knows. But yes, he'll be living in Ali's shirt the entire time, guaranteed. And that's a promise, or Ali owes you $5,000 for every listener.
Easy.
Careful. That's where he lives now. That's where Bolus lives now. Right. You can also support the show, patreon.com/ThinktwiceMTG. We'd love your support. If you have any spare dollars just hanging around in your house, if you see $1 on the floor, you're like, you know what, who could use this? Thinktwice could use this. Because...
we could use it.
because then maybe we don't have to give you the last 2 weeks worth of episodes where Director Che has to scramble together to fight an alligator just to get his computer back. And we don't want that to happen, so any help you could do is super appreciated. We have a lot of rewards tiers where we give you cool stuff for a thank you for supporting us. We also, of course, want to thank our graphic designer, Amber West. You can find all of her work at amberwestdesigns.com. We also want to thank our director and producer, as always, John Che. He is the man behind the curtain. We don't really have a curtain, but if we did, that's where he would be. We also want to thank our Agent of Bolus producers, Josh Lyons and Daniel Hunt. Thank you guys so much for your help every week. You're really the people that make this show go, because even though we didn't have Director Che last week, you guys still supported us through thick and thin, despite what, I don't know, that you could probably see the difference in, how nice the show looks when he's not there.
It was... yeah, but now they lost my singing.
That's true. That doesn't mean they didn't lose it. You just stopped doing it.
It's true.
That's on you, really.
Maybe.
Well, you want to sing us out?
No, I'm too tired.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Well, you know what song Teffrey would sing?
Which one?
If he were singing?
What?
I got friends in low places where the whiskey drowns and the beer chases my blues away, and we'll be okay. All right, that's all.
That was
that's
good.
all you get. That's all you get from this week.
That was beautiful.
I do not like country music, but I did hear that song a lot in my childhood. So that's it for us this week. Ali, I love you. We love you guys. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.